What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I hope y'all outside getting some of that good movement, some of that good vitamin D, them good vibes. My be the gang, my be the gang, my be the gang, my be the gang. Yeah. What's up, my be the gang? Being divinely aligned collective. What's going on with y'all? Yeah. What's up? What's up? It's your boy. You already know who it is. Shout out to Marshawn Lynch. You know why I'm here. What's going on, be the gang? What's going on, be the gang? Yes, sir. You already know what's up, man. Y'all know what the vibes is, man. So we gonna jump right in, man. We ain't gonna be too long-winded. We ain't gonna be too short-winded. We just gonna give exactly what spirit, want me to give. Yeah. So we gonna jump right in, man. It's the definition of standard, right? A figure adopted as an emblem by a people, something set up as a rule for measuring or as a model to be followed, an upright support used as or meeting a standard established by law or custom. So, like, what's your standard? You get what I'm saying? Like, what's the way that you are implementing in your life right now that is either bearing fruit or you're not bearing fruit? You got to ask yourself that. Now, for me, be the gang, I could just say there's some areas in my life that is bearing fruit, and then there's some that aren't bearing fruit. But the reason why they're not bearing fruit is due to the inconsistencies. And, if I could be real with y'all, there's some areas that the inconsistencies not only have come, but they have persisted just simply because an unwillingness to see that. And there is areas where I myself feel like, man, I'm moving in the right direction, but it's just times and moments where it's easier just to go back than to keep going. And as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So if you're going backwards in those moments where you should be moving forward, you have to look at the reason why you started. And you have to go back to your standard, your mantra, your plan that you've, set in motion and that you've written down wherever on paper or, if it is on a phone, wherever, and figure out the reason why you're moving and why you're going in that direction. Now, once you figure out what your standard is, it's up to you not to allow whatever is happening in life to cause you to lower that standard, because life is going to test that standard. You're going to be tested at your job. You're going to be tested with your family, whether blood or those people who you've, brought in that aren't blood related that you consider family. There's going to be those in your neighborhood. There's going to be moments in your life with yourself where you're tested by your own standard. And it's up to you to hold that standard, to hold that line, or, look at it and say, maybe I just need to scale back, but not lose the vision. Be flexible. Don't quit, though. You get what I'm saying? Because too many times I feel like we may quit, because it's just getting too hard, Thank you, Spirit. Just like Peter. When Peter got off the boat, he said, Lord, is it you? If it's you, call me and tell me to come. And what did Jesus do? He told him, he said, yeah, come off. So he got off and Peter's walking on water. Now, the standard that was set was Peter was like, man, if you called me, I'm going to do this. So that's the standard. He wasn't listening to what nobody else was doing in the boat because nobody else got off the boat but him. But when Peter did get off the boat, he asked the Lord and said, if it's you, call me. And he walked. And what happened? Peter was walking on the water up until he did what? Took his eyes off of the Lord. And then God came and saved them. But I use that as a visual because we can be focused and dialed in to what we're supposed to be doing, to the standard that we've set, and we've prayed and we said, man, if this is you, Most High God, if this is you, Spirit, if this is you, universe, if this is you, divine energy that's called me to this, I'm going to do it. And we feel so good at the beginning of it. We feel so good and we're motivated. But then as the journey persists, as life continues on, we sort of lose maybe the fervor or the intensity because things happen, and then we take our eyes off of the reason why we started, what the standard was in the beginning, and we can falter. I'm speaking to one, two, however many are willing to receive this word. Once you set the standard, do not lower your expectations. If people can't meet you where you set your standard at, then they're not supposed to be on this leg and part of the journey with you. Okay, because when people set their price, they don't feel bad about you not being able to meet it, because they know what? Somebody is going to meet it. And if it's not you, somebody else will meet it. Hasn't somebody told you that? Oh, well, what you won't do, somebody else will do. You dang Skippy. If you won't meet my standard, beloved, whether it's a she or he, somebody else will meet it. And I just have to be persistent and consistent until the right people come. So don't feel bad that you may be in a season where you set your price and nobody is trying to meet you there. It's okay. They may not be a part of this part of the journey for you. As I told you, people are a part of our lives for seasons and for reasons. However long that season may be, okay, cool. Once that season is up, we have to learn how to release stuff so we can accept the more coming in. We can't receive no blessings with a closed hand. So if we want to accept and receive the people who are willing to meet our standard, we have to let go of the people who are no longer serving not only a purpose, but are not in this season. And then for the reason, once we realize, okay, this person was in my life for this reason, to learn this lesson, we can move forward and apply that on the journey of our standard. I hope you following and understanding what I'm saying, because once you set that standard, it's up for you. It's not up for Sally. It's not up for John. It's not up for your mother. It's not up for your spouse. It's not up for your kids. It's not over your mentor. It's not over your pastor. It's up for you to have not only the fundamental belief that you're going to keep that standard, but for you to honor that standard. And the way that you honor it is by not only showing up, but being consistent in the moments where it feels like I do not want to be, because that's the test. The universe is sending those things to you to see if you're really going to stand up to what's coming at you, to say, you know what, nah, this is in me, it ain't on me. Because a lot of people got stuff on them. You know, they've been given this, they've been given that, and it's on them. But that dog, it got to be in you. It got to be in you. And if that dog is in you, no matter how many times you get bit or attacked, that dog is still going to keep fighting. It's still going to keep clawing, because it's like, oh no, I got to continue to persist because it's just me. And at the end of the day, it is just you. Now, the right people, the right opportunities, the right provision, all of those things will come. But you need to continue to persist. Now, whatever standard you set, whether it's, hey, you know what, after I make my bed, I'm going to have devotion. And after I have my devotion, now I'm going to set my day and plan this. Okay. For my people who may have, you know, school, okay, I'm going to study for this at this time. I'm going to do this. For my athletes, you know what? I'm going to set the standard that not only do I have practice, but I'm going to come in and go before practice start and try to get 100 shots up, to do 100 suicides, to do some passes if I'm a football player, whatever your sport may be. Set the standard to where you're not just accepting the bare minimum and doing the bare minimum and expecting that you're going to have grand results. No, you're setting the standard to say, I'm going to go above and beyond. But when you go above and beyond, please don't do it for validation. Please don't do it so somebody can see. Do it because that's what you know, the standard you're holding yourself to. People that do great things, they're not doing them in public to say, hey, look what I'm doing. No, they're doing them because they know this is the level that I need to work at to get to the level of greatness. Anybody that did great things, they didn't do it to seek and have validation. They did it because this is the level that they need to operate at continuously to receive and be that person, not only of substance, but of value. That's what we're here to do on this earth. We're here to make stuff and add value to it. If you're not adding value to your family, if you're not adding value to your environment, if you're not adding value to your job, sooner or later, you're going to be just looked over, and people ain't going to even come to you, and not saying come to you. They're just going to be like, what are you doing? So you have to understand what value you add to stuff, but what is your standard? And when you have your standard, look at it as a blessing when these things come to you. Okay, as it says right here in Colossians chapter 3, verse 5, 7. Therefore put to death your members which are on earth: fornication, uncleanness, passion, passion for evil desires, covetousness, which is idolatry. Because of these things, the wrath of God is coming upon the sons of disobedience, in which you yourselves once walked in when you lived in them. Okay, so it's saying past tense. You yourselves used to walk in those things. But once you set your standard, you know, okay, if I just got this job and I'm trying to do a great thing on this job, provide for my family, provide for myself. However, you know it's a standard. You can't be out all late in the nighttime because you know you have to show up to work in a certain capacity. They're trusting you with a certain amount of space to perform this job, not only to that ability, but you're not performing for the employer. You're getting paid, but you're working unto the Lord. So as you have this standard, it's up to you to say, okay, I could go out tonight, but I got to be to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So why am I going to go and get drunk? Why am I going to go get high? Why am I going to go do whatever that is that's going to put me at a deficit when I know I have to uphold a standard, not for the employer, but for myself? Because to thine own self shall thou be true. Or however that quote goes, you have to set a standard for yourself. And the moment you set a standard for yourself, other people will realize and be like, damn, it's something different about her. It's something different about him. Everybody else is doing and saying, but they're actually putting in the work, putting in the reps. And people will see you. The right people will see you. God will send an abundance of provision, an abundance of protection, an abundance of peace your way that surpasses all understanding when you not only set the standard, but you honor it. Okay, so when you set that standard, all of those things that I said right there, those ways that you used to live, you have to check and see and look at the scale. Okay, is it off when I say I'm going to live this way, but I want to follow the standard, or is it balanced? Because living a way that isn't balanced is going to cause you to falter the blessing. You don't want to get something that you claim you wanted, but then when you get it, you're not upholding the standard and not being the type of person that will be able to steward it. So then you lose the blessing. Now, there's sometimes in some seasons where it may be called for you to walk away from stuff that no longer serves you, that's draining your energy. Now, with that, I cause you to call and ask the God that you serve and say, hey, I know that you'll provide. I know that you're for me. But Lord, is it meant for me to stay here? Is it meant for me to walk away? Earnestly seek him. Don't just do stuff because you're doing it by the seat of your pants. Earnestly seek him. Pray, meditate, and look at the landscape of things, and he'll give you your answer. He will. He will. God is not a man that he should lie, nor does he speak a thing and it shall not come to pass. God began a good work in you, and he will finish it until the day it's done. And on that day, Christ Jesus will become. That's Philippians 1:6. So whatever he started in you, he'll finish. But you have to set the standard. You have to be the person that has not only the integrity, but has the understanding and say, hey, man, this is on me. And you have to put away those former behaviors if they're not serving you and they're pulling you and lowering your standard. And don't feel bad when people talking about stuff. Oh, you acting brand new now. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm acting brand new. Okay, last week, yeah, I was doing that. 2 months ago, I was doing that. Okay, cool. I'm glad that you know my whole rap sheet. Oh, I did those things, but now we're on a new time frame. And I just want to say this to you. Anybody that is paying attention to you more than they're paying attention to themselves, they're already at a loss because they're crashing out. Why are you fixated on me so much that you're not focused on your own life? That's a problem. That's a problem. Anybody that's paying attention more to someone else than their own path, you already know they're at a deficit, and you know you're doing something right. Because if they have to put that much energy into following, into slandering, into gossiping, into being nosy about you, man, you know you're doing something right. You get what I'm saying? Happy people ain't hating, and hating people ain't happy. So whatever they're doing, pay it no mind because it's free. They're paying you attention. You get what I'm saying? So keep doing what you're doing. And if it's working, work it. But the standard that you set, it has to be set to a level not only of integrity, but a level of, okay, clarity. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Don't just throw a dart in the nighttime and think it's going to land somewhere. Plan. Proper planning prevents poor performance. So as you properly plan, I don't care if you say, you know what, this week, I'm just going to make sure that I take my kids to school, pack their lunch, and I go to work and do this. And when I come home, I do 20 minutes on the treadmill. A little bit is something than nothing. But if you're planning and you're putting it in there, you can increase that over time. But if you're just saying, I'm going to do this, and you're not planning it out, you're going to be all over the place. So make sure you have a plan. Make sure you're executing that plan. I don't care if it's just a little bit at a time. Over time, if you show up for that little bit, you'll be able to do more over time because you're putting in the reps. You're putting in the reps. Okay, now let's go to basketball, my favorite sport. My coach wasn't putting me in the game if I wasn't showing improving in practice, and the work that I did in practice wasn't the only work that I needed to do. That's why I didn't go as far, because I felt I was doing just enough. No, you have to be obsessed with it. And when I mean obsessed, I don't care what nobody else think. Oh, it take all of that. You in the gym 2 to 3 times a day. You reading your word. You bringing your food. I don't care what anybody else thinks, and you shouldn't either. Because what you're obsessed about and with the mandate that the Most High has put on your life, you're responsible for. Because at the end of the day, when you stand at judgment and God is like, what did you do for your life? And what did you do with the gifts that I've given you? Ain't nobody else going to be standing with you. And I'm sorry to tell you that. It's just going to be you there. And it's just going to be you that he's asking, what did you do with the gifts that I've given you? Did you multiply them? Or did you hold them and not work them and till them to sharpen them, to make them better, to make other people better either? Because at the end of the day, I'm sorry to say, the gifts that he's giving you aren't for you to stand on the platform and say, just look how great I am. No, it's about glorifying the great I am and saying, look what God did through me and look what I gave back. We're supposed to leave this place better than we found it, whether that's through tangible things or through our legacy or through how we treat people. We are supposed to make a difference. And the only way you can make a difference is by working what he's giving you to work. Now, you may not have a lot, but you could turn that little into a lot. How many people have we seen have horrible starts at life? I'm talking about starting way negative. I'm talking about not coming into a family that is loving, not coming into a family that has generational wealth. I'm talking about coming into a family that is filled with trauma, filled with lies, deception, and then on top of that, you're starting in a negative place because you don't even know some of your family members. You may be in a single parent household, so you're starting off at a deficit. You got to work your way all the way to zero, and now you're working forward. But there are still people who do that and achieve amazing and wonderful things. So we have no excuse. They set a standard. They said, you know what? I live in this country, but if I could ever get to America, the land of dreams, I'm going to make sure that I get it. That's why you see so many, shout out to the immigrants. And I'm saying it. It's so many immigrants that come from different countries, and for lack of better words, they SHIT on Americans. You know why? Because they know that the prosperity that they have here isn't promised, because where they came from, there was none. So they use every opportunity. They turn over every rock and make the best of it. Now, there's some cases where people come over from different places. I'm not saying anything, but they do some heinous and horrible things. May God be with them. But what I'm saying is, make every advantage of the opportunities that you have like it's your last. Because there's somebody over there who's looking at you and you saying, I don't have enough. They would love to have what you have. And they would run laps around you with what you have, what you think you don't have enough. Come on, Spirit. Come on. Come on. Come on, be the gang. We talking real right now. We talking real. We talking really, really real. And at the end of the day, it's about when you set that standard, continuing to do it. And if you can progress and move higher, do so. So always do an inventory, maybe once a month, maybe every 2 months, every 3 months, or twice a year, every 6 months. Say, okay, I set this standard, I'm doing this, what's working, what's not working. Okay, and what is working, see how you can increase. What isn't working, see how you can maximize what isn't working and strengthen those areas so you can be more proficient, more efficient, and yield a better result. Nothing is not possible. Luke 1:37 says, for with God, all things are possible. All things are possible with God. So if you believe in the Most High and you're watching this because you are being divinely aligned, collective, then with the Most High, anything is possible. But the Most High isn't just going to drop it in your lap. Faith without works is dead. So you're going to have to put some grit. You're going to have to put some tenacity. And most of all, you are going to have to put some belief and work behind what you're standing on and what your standard is, and press toward the mark. Okay? Colossians 3:23. And whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord, not to men. 24. Knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. We don't serve this world, okay? We serve the Most High. So as we serve the Most High, that's who we are looking to please. So when somebody says, oh man, you know, how come you didn't say something back, or how come you didn't do that? It's not that you couldn't. You maybe would have spazzed and swung off somebody. You might could have done that. You might could have cursed somebody out, but you don't do it anymore because you've taken off that old standard and you put on that new standard. Instead of you cursing them out, you say, you know what? I'm going to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, because human anger doesn't produce the righteousness of God. I believe that's somewhere in James. And once you start adopting these standards, although they may be hard to follow at first, the more you work it, it may be easier to ignore that person who you know is purposely trying to start something with you just to get a response. And what people do doesn't speak more about you. It speaks more about them. They're unhappy. They're having moments of, unrest, moments of displeasure within themselves. And because they don't know how to emotionally regulate themselves, they project on you and want you to respond and get pulled into the web with them. Don't get pulled into the web with them. Once you set your price and you set your standard, leave it there, beloved. The right people will find you. The right people will respect it and say, you know what? I got a standard too. And your standard aligns with my standard. So let's do something together. I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time. But the only way that you'll get to those moments of breakthrough and get to those moments of success is if you follow when you set your standard. And when you set your standard, you don't feel bad about who's not willing to meet it, because the right people who want to meet it will meet it. We all have time in a day and we choose to do what we want to do. So if somebody isn't wanting to meet the standard that you set, don't be upset. Just say they're not for me. That may be your mother. That may be your sister. That may be your spouse. I'm not telling you to break up with your spouse, but I'm telling you to look at the signs. And once you see what it is, don't ignore it. Because if you ignore it, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Be discerning. Use wisdom. But most importantly, allow spirit to lead you. Because spirit never lie. Spirit never lie. All right, man? So once you set your standard, make sure that you don't try to do too much too fast. But most importantly, don't feel bad when people aren't willing to meet it, because people will only do what they want to do. And if they're not willing to meet you at your standard, it just shows that they're not willing to put the work in and they don't value you enough. But you need to value you. And if you value you, the right people will see that and they will eventually come. But that doesn't mean, oh, because nobody is meeting me at my standard, I need to go back on discount. Nah, you ain't on discount, you full price. And if nobody is willing to pay full price, oh well, so be it. You ain't doing 4 flex payments. No, you're going to pay this whole price. We ain't breaking this payment thing up. We're not breaking this standard thing up. You're going to either pay the full price or handle your business someplace else. I'm not mad at you. But you're not going to lower my standard because you feel you don't want to honor that. It's time that we not only honor ourselves, but we put our standards in place where people will honor us. And if they don't, it don't make them good, bad, or indifferent. It just says that they're not willing to do the work to meet us there. And you, beloved, need to make sure that you uphold your standard and don't let yourself down. And brother, the way you don't let yourself down is by not trying to bite off too much too soon. Take the small steps and continue to keep building on them. Do your inventory, like I said, however many times a week, however many times a month, however many times biannually or annually, and then see where you can grow. But by all means, don't allow anybody to make you feel bad for having a standard. Once you have a standard, change who you used to be so that you can embody that new standard and watch the success come. The success may look like it came over the night to some people, but overnight to some people, they don't know. It took 5 years. It took 10 years. This took 6 months, however much time it took. Do the work. Because at the end of the day, when you do that work, you're not only glorifying the Most High God, you're showing yourself that you're worth it. And if anybody is worth it, you are, my Be The Gang, my Being Divinely Aligned Collective. I love y'all. We're going to sign out right there. I know y'all see this sun shining. Make sure you get some vitamin D. Make sure you get some positive vibes. But most importantly, get you some water, man. Get you some water, all right? I ain't telling you to not eat your sweets and all of that stuff, but make sure you do it in moderation, all right? I love y'all, man. Be The Gang, we out. Peace.